With us in studio, Dr. Joe Congeni joins us most Wednesday mornings at this time. Dr. Joe, what do you have for us today?
Hey, Ray, I want to talk about a little issue brewing in high school sports. And the fastest growing high school sport in the country is,
can I guess?
Yes.
Lacrosse.
You're so good at these things. Guys or girls lacrosse?
Probably girls.
Yeah, girls lacrosse is the fastest growing sport. You're so good. So guys is growing fast too, but in the last 5 years, 30% increase in girls playing the sport of lacrosse. And we've noticed that locally too. This is a burgeoning sport and a lot of kids getting into it. It's a good spring sport. Weather isn't as affected as baseball and other things, and it's growing all over the place. But the controversy brewing is the rules are different in the girls' game. The rules are supposed to be such as that it's no contact or very limited contact, so no problem with concussions or needing to wear a helmet or issues like that. And that's where the issue is brewing is there's a lot of discussion and anecdotal stories that there's a lot more concussions than people had hoped for. We definitely are seeing that at the Sports Medicine Center this year, and so there's no doubt about it. And so what you see when you go out there, what I've seen myself this year, is a lot of people unilaterally, although the rules say you don't need helmets and don't want them to wear helmets, don't need them to nationally. That is from the U.S. Lacrosse Association. Many kids and teams are starting to wear headgear helmets themselves. So you'll see whole teams of one team wearing helmets, the other team not, or one or two girls wearing helmets because they've had a problem and the other team's not. And there's a really big debate going on back and forth. And part of the debate kind of goes like this, is on the side of needing them is a lot of kids who don't grow up playing the sport are picking it up in high school, and they're not as skilled stick handlers, and they're not as good with the sticks and the balls and sticks flying around in areas. And we do get a lot of kid get hit in the head with a ball, kid get hit in the head with a stick, no helmet on. Maybe it would have, people are asking questions like that. So I called the Ohio High School Athletic Association yesterday. Bo Rugg, who's a good friend of your show, happens to be in charge of lacrosse, so that was a fortunate thing. And we spoke for a while. He's hearing some of the same things. He's trying to make a good choice by looking at the studies. That's what I always tell you. I just did a survey of the teams around the area, and I'm seeing 3, 4, 5 concussions per team, and that is too much. But that's just a Northeast Ohio, Akron area survey. Bo's trying to look at bigger studies statewide and maybe even nationwide. The state of Florida went out this year and mandated helmets for all players. They went totally against what the U.S. Lacrosse said. And so for the first year, and maybe we'll have some studies out of lacrosse of a whole year of wearing them down there. On the other side, what they're saying at U.S. Lacrosse is, really, we're covering up what isn't needed. It is not supposed to be a contact sport. What we need is better coaching and people better educated about the sport. Well, but if the kids are not and they're coming to the sport late, we may not have that. He says, they're saying also that it would make the sport more combative if the girls are wearing helmets and get closer to what the boys' game is. And they also say the expense, about $150 a helmet, may keep the certain kids, especially kids in the city and other that don't have that $150 to play, or school districts having to buy 50 helmets for kids that play. And so that might too expensive. So there's a debate going on. Bo is on it at the OHSAA. They're trying to look at some of the studies going on. But I would tell you this spring we have seen a lot of concussions. Well, on the good side, great sport, fun to watch. I've been through watching it the last few years. I think I've mentioned my son played it for 4 years over at Hoban. But on the negative side, it doesn't look good. One whole team wearing helmets, the other not. Couple kids wearing not. We need to really try to answer that question.
I got a couple of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
One, I don't think I would ever go on in watching some lacrosse, and a couple of Rocco's good friends play in the Wadsworth team. Mm-hmm. So we had a chance to watch. It's a rough sport. I'm talking boys.
Yeah.
It's a rough sport. Matter of fact, one of his good friends had a severe concussion.
Yeah.
Playing the sport. I would never go on the field in that arena, that game, without a headgear on.
Yeah, yeah.
It can be rough, and they bop each other around. They use their bodies, and that ball, whipping that ball around, that thing hits you in the head, man.
Yes.
It's going to knock you down, and maybe worse. I would have the headgear on. And if it's a little bit more expensive, then I think you have to do that. And if I was coaching a girls team, I would want that because the sticks are flying and the balls are flying.
Right.
I'd want to protect that head.
Even though it's not body
me.
checking and things allowed in the girls' games, the sticks, just not the stick skills. The ball is flying around. I think you're right on it. That's what's been a lot of our injuries. Wadsworth's one of the schools is looking and asking about wearing next year. So you're exactly right. Again, I do want to look at the numbers. I can't, I get on here all the time and say we need studies to say. So I definitely agree with Bo. I'm glad to see that he's on it and he wants to look at the studies and look what happened in the state. But I'm with you totally. If at all we're able to save even a handful of these concussions, I think it'll be well worth it to look at headgear.
And the one thing you're starting to see a lot, not only the growth of the sport, Joe, but in seeing it in a lot of different schools, you're seeing a lot of really good athletes go to the lacrosse arena and participate in that sport and leaving some of the other sports, whether it be baseball, whether it be football. But I'm seeing some of these players not using lacrosse as okay, let's try this. They're using lacrosse as, hey, I love this sport.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing a lot of that.
Absolutely. It's such a great alternative for kids that are quick and fast and can use their hands, eye-hand coordination of baseball, the speed of basketball and soccer. It really combines a lot of different sports. It's very interesting and fun to watch, and it's skyrocketing with the numbers of participation. But let's try to look at the best way we can keep it safe, and that's what they're trying to do with the OHSAA as well.
And I have a niece who plays on her high school lacrosse team in Pennsylvania, down by Chambersburg, Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And they are not required to wear helmets.
Yeah,
so it's not just Ohio, it's elsewhere around the country as well.
Yeah, we'll look down to Florida and see if we can gain some information this year.
All right, good stuff. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Ray. Have a great week.
You too.
Thanks.
Dr. Joe Congeni, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital, joins us each Wednesday here on the Ray Horner Morning Show at 1590 WAKR.